Court says fresh vote needed for Hela province. New master's program on renewable energy. And lay police find criminal safehouse.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Tuesday's news. The National Court in Port Moresby has refused to recognize either Francis Potape or Philip Undialu as the Hela governor. Instead, it ruled that the two meetings, which were conducted in July and resulted in Potape and Undialu elected as Hela governors, was a breach of the standing orders and are illegal. The decision was handed down by Justice Colin McKyle before a packed courtroom at noon today. Outside the courtroom, there was a huge crowd of supporters waiting eagerly to hear the decision.
This decision means the Hela governor's seat will remain vacant until the entire process of electing one is compiled with or observed by all members of the Provincial Executive Council. The court also ordered the Provincial Assembly to complete the election process at a time and date to be set by the Assembly clerk. The dispute over the governor's seat resulted from two separate meetings held in Hela on July 5th by members of the Provincial Assembly. In the first meeting, Potape was elected as governor, while in the second, Undialu was also elected as governor.
But basically, court refused both elections. I elected him in the afternoon, elected me in the afternoon, so in the morning, so that was it.
Their appointments resulted in a dispute by their supporters, and the matter was filed before the Waigani National Court for the court's direction on who will hold the governor's seat. The court found that the first meeting was a breach of the standing orders because it was held without the deputy chairman of the PEC and chaired by an unauthorized person. It further saw that the second meeting was also chaired by an unauthorized person who acted as the assembly clerk.
Go back to the assembly today. Now, so thank you, Lord, that come. Time, brother, stop. I mean, like to clerk must be neutral. Deputy chairman, acting governor, deputy governor, holding power staff, it must be neutral. All assembly members will go back to assembly sometimes next week or whatever time clerk put the notice out, and Bible go back.
On these grounds, the application to recognize Potape or Undialu was refused. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Following the court's decision, Deputy Hela Governor Thomas Potape said the Provincial Assembly will conduct an election next Tuesday to vote a new governor. Potape said a Provincial Executive Council meeting will be held this Thursday to enforce the National Court ruling. The election is a court order and was welcomed by the Deputy Governor.
Members of the Provincial Executive Council will host the elections next Tuesday, as ordered by the courts. Deputy Governor Thomas Potape said the dispute over the governor's seat has affected the delivery of government services into Hela for almost 2 years. Thus, he will ensure an election is conducted quickly. Meanwhile, Francis Potape has also welcomed the court's decision. Mr. Potape said he was the first to put up his hand to be Hela governor when the late Endesena Igiru was sick for almost 6 months. However, Potape said he is willing to support whoever the new governor will be.
Provincial Assembly, by holding Tuesday. Tuesday. PC and by call Tuesday. Now tested. I have a PEC members, 7 PEC members in the Hela Provincial Assembly. The chairman yet let against an agreement go loose and die. Maybe got 6 assembly members, PEC members. Mean by holding PEC past it, Lord Tuesday, this Tuesday, Tuesday. And then next week Tuesday, mean by holding my assembly. This letter mean by looking all public servants must stop neutral. All people from Hela must stop neutral. Now, I got a triple member, mean by me, like looking my triple member, my staff of province. assembly member, all the presidents, elected president, not the failed presidents. All my stable province.
The election will be conducted in the Hela Provincial Assembly House.
For the deputy prime ministers to say Hela Papa would not vote by way of a letter that just ruled now that is unconstitutional. You can't do it. He's been in the assembly for 4 years already, and where have you been all this time? You've been the deputy prime minister and that minister 4 years too. So these things are, to a certain extent, the instability in the province is created by that department. Also, we are calling on the public servant, Mr. William Bandu, and the administration.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The University of Papua New Guinea is working on launching a new master's program on renewable energy. If everything goes according to plan, this could happen as early as next month. The new master's program is an effort to upskill energy workers in the country with the hope to create a vibrant renewable energy industry.
The program is part of a European Union-funded project called EPIC that was introduced to PNG in 2013. Manu Rawali, physics lecturer at UPNG, is the project coordinator of EPIC in the country.
So the master's program is just we're trying to build capacity for those who are already in the market and, of course, bright students who just recently graduated to be able to manage a project from start to finish or anywhere in between.
Rawali said a needs analysis in 2014 in the energy sector indicated an overwhelming need for capacity building.
So we're targeting mainly, at this point of time, we're targeting mainly scientists, technologists and engineers in the energy sector.
Some of those people who have indicated an interest to take up the master's program were part of a 2-day energy workshop organized by EPIC. Dr. Oana Driha is the project manager of EPIC.
And the main aim of this project, which is basically renewable energy for the Pacific Islands, is to create a master program on renewable energy management on one hand, and on the other hand to create a center on renewable energy. What for? The master program mainly for making sure that you are going to have experts in the field of renewable energy management, and the Center of Renewable Energy mainly for being the link between academia, government and the business community.
Rawali said the center will basically be a group of people coming together as a committee.
With this current structure, we have what we call an advisory committee. Advisory committee is made up not only of the university, but we have our partners, donors, private sector, government bodies that will invite to be part of this advisory body. Then you actually have the actual people on the ground who do the research, do the work, which we're looking mostly within the university, but we would love to have people from outside as well.
A veteran in PNG's energy sector, Noel Mobiha, who has been part of the renewable energy discussion, agrees that there should be a wider range of ownership into the Center for Renewable Energy.
I've always been of the opinion that it should be co-funded by all the institutions, the learning institutions we get here in the country, because that brings in partnerships, that brings in different stakeholders with different specialties. Like Unitech will come in with the engineering component to the science component that's here. We may bring in Divine Word in on the business side of things to show the modeling of stuff.
With the master's program, Rawali said it will start with 10 students with the aim to increase to 20 students per year. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
JX Nippon, a Japanese oil and gas company that is already working with the Papua New Guinea government on several projects, has renewed its commitment and interest in upcoming PNG liquefied natural gas projects. President of JX Nippon, Shinsaku Miyake, is leading a delegation that is in the country to engage with government ministers and partners in the PNG LNG project. The delegation met with Prime Minister Peter O'Neill yesterday. Mr. O'Neill encouraged the company to engage more with Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited while thanking them for training opportunities it has provided for the mining sector. Minister for Public Enterprise and State Investments William Duma today announced the newly appointed board members of the PNG ports. The National Executive Council approved the reappointment of Nathaniel Poya as chairman, while Fabian Chow takes on the deputy chairmanship. Mr. Poya assured the government of his board's commitment to drive PNG ports and support the government to deliver its policies in the transport sector, especially the maritime transport sector.
The new PNG Ports Board has people with high caliber with business, management and professional experience to drive the state-owned entity forward. They include Chairman Nathaniel Poya, Deputy Chairman Fabian Chow, Directors Patrick Amini, Harvey Nee, Luke Niap and Eddie Hessingut, and Acting Managing Director Stanley Alphonse. Minister Duma said many of the board members were reappointed because of the need for consistency going forward, especially with all the infrastructure development that have taken place in the last 3 years.
The government expects you to run Ports Corporation as a commercial entity. Given the fact that you're owned by the very people you serve, we also at the same time expect you to perform a very delicate balancing act. And that is to ensure you try your best to deliver a return on our investment, but at the same time serve your shareholders.
Chairman Poya thanked the outgoing directors and deputy chairman for their contribution to the former board.
We have achieved some milestone projects, including motor care, port development, had a cost of 450 million. The Huyen Industrial Park development had a cost of 350 million.
Acting Managing Director Stanley Alphonse said the reappointments speak well for the board and show confidence in the handling of the huge investments in port infrastructure in Port Moresby and Lae and other port networks.
I will work with the new board minister to further do my best to provide the leadership and guidance to our management, but at the same time also work closely with the board to ensure that the corporate and strategic objectives of the company, insofar as the delivery of government policies are concerned and as they relate to the maritime transportation sector, are fully implemented to ensure that we get the level of efficiency that the nation so desires and ultimately cost-competitive outcomes.
Mr. Alphonse said one of the priority areas the new board will try to address is volume challenge. Delhi Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Health services in Gulf are expected to improve following the opening of new health facilities. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and Health Minister Michael Malabag opened the facilities today. The facilities include a new outpatient ward, hospital mess, administration office, sewage treatment plant and staff accommodation. The Prime Minister maintained that Gulf is prioritized given the high level of tuberculosis cases. Both the Prime Minister and Health Minister also witnessed the swearing in of new members of the Kerama Hospital Board. The Department of the Prime Minister and the National Executive Council is the most important member of public service because it links the Prime Minister to the general public directly. This was the statement made by Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari today at the launch of the Corporate Plan 2015 to 2017, the website and the department's corporate wear.
The third edition of the 3-year Corporate Plan 2015 to 2017 marks a third restructure for the department. The department has undergone restructures over the last 5 years. On the 4th April this year, the department submitted a restructure to the Department of Personnel Management. However, they are yet to receive an approved structure from the DPM. For that reason, they have devised a third corporate plan.
For the first time, the department will, to a large extent, be focusing on monitoring and coordinating the implementation of NEC decisions. This is being done through the establishment of an additional Deputy Secretary position, 6 Director Generals in the Policy and Coordination Division, and 3 Director Generals in the operations division.
It's nothing if you don't have the energy and the vision and the desire to do it. On top of that, we have to make sure that we have the capacity, the skill and the knowledge to do it. Put a pen does all, but we must equip ourselves with the tools. Equip ourselves with the tools. This is why I always talk about training for everybody in this organization.
The launch of the website is the first of its kind, according to Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari, who says they needed a website and email database for improved communication purposes. The corporate wear is also a first for the department. It covers men's and women's wear, as well as uniforms for the security personnel. Marilyn Diaukatam, National MTV News.
Still to come on National MTV News, Lay police discover criminals' hideout, more evictions in Port Moresby, and church in East New Britain transfer land title to make way for development. Stay with us. Back. Lay police have discovered a safe house at the back road area which criminals have allegedly been using to keep homemade guns, ammunition and homebrew making equipment. Lay Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi says police were acting on a complaint of an armed holdup and went into the area to apprehend the suspects when the items were discovered.
Wagambi says police apprehended and charged 2 suspects yesterday for holding up a man using a homemade gun along the back road area on Sunday. The 2 stole 550 kina and a mobile phone from the victim. Police say the duo didn't realize that the man they held up lives in the same area and had recognized them. On Monday morning, the victim laid a complaint with police stationed at Chinatown. The police went to the house of one of the suspects and apprehended him and 2 other accomplices. They also carried out a search in the area and found other equipment that may have been used to carry out other criminal activities. The suspects have been arrested and charged and are now in police custody. They are due to appear before the Lay District Court. Wagambi says the back road area is a known criminal hotspot in Lay City for the traveling public and acknowledges the general public and the Chinatown police for collaborating together to have these 2 suspects apprehended. Mata Luis, National MTV News, Lay.
Lay Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi says police have yet to confirm several reported casualties yesterday morning following a clash that started over the weekend at the Boundary Road area. However, they can confirm that 1 man is dead while 20 others were seriously injured. Several houses were razed over the weekend. Wagambi says those who created this problem will be dealt with accordingly.
Lay police reported that the fighting started on Saturday after a youth demanded a group of people who were gambling to give him some money. The youth was then attacked by the people who were harassed. It was there that the fighting escalated when both factions of the people involved joined the clash.
I am of the strongest view that after so much attempts to get peace back in the area, the government must come in strong now and start evicting people off the land, because they cannot live harmoniously together and keep on causing problems. And for police, it's a constraint on us, because these are problems which we don't have to attend, which are unnecessary problems, you know.
Several months ago, a similar clash erupted in the same area. As a result, 2 men were killed, 7 were reportedly hospitalized, and several houses torched. Families were forced to seek temporary refuge in a makeshift care center. Last month, 2 parties involved in the clash were preparing for a peace reconciliation.
You know, there was supposed to be a peace reconciliation was going to take place. But because of certain reasons, it was delayed for a while. But you know, ownership of this the peace over there, I'm coming to people.
Lay Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi has directed his officers to locate and arrest individuals who started this problem, including those allegedly involved in recent cases of murder and arson. He is encouraging leaders of both groups to bring back normalcy. Police are still in the area and will deal with perpetrators from both factions. Wagambi says this conflict has resurfaced after a lot of effort was put into bringing back peace and normalcy. Matalubis, National EMTV News, Ley.
Another major eviction is taking place in Port Moresby. More than 60 families, some with land titles while others without, residing in the Morata 1 area are facing eviction due to developments taking place. The residents are in despair and say they have nowhere to go.
Almost 800 people are losing their homes in Morata 1 as they have been given eviction and demolition notices from NTDC. The notice orders them to move out because of road development plans. But the order has not come out well for some residents who have been living here. Over the weekend, some residents have vacated Morata while others have pulled down their houses. There are permanent and semi-permanent houses that have been used for residential purposes, rental property, business and offices. One of them is NGO Group Urban and Rural Development Foundation.
Weekend out on Friday, you blow get the line need the sim houses label. So weekend now as you are looking houses walk rouse now. All man we stop and alone. Stop this road plan. Okay, now right now the biggest problem the community is confused right now. Eastman the road bago is going that way. Right now, road plan come to 1631,000. And people all give him a road plan now. Me plan no really well. One them NCDC engineering. One them plan them la behind him. This la me plan no well this la plan as yet. Until all come like give him this la notice. So 2 weeks, I'm short la time.
This eviction exercise has already affected residents who say the biggest problem is relocation.
It can go through. It can go through, but look at this vulnerable group of people, where they are coming homeless right now. Can the authority in charge address the issue of relocation properly?
Residents say they will stage a sit-in protest tomorrow to address their grievances and are calling on NCD Governor Powers Pakop to attend. Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
The East New Britain Development Corporation group of companies has acquired more than 137 hectares of land from the Rugby Catholic Archdiocese. The Catholic Church yesterday announced the transfer of the land ownership to the ENBDC as a way forward in developing the province. The areas cover the old plantation at Rapopo that will be redeveloped as part of Tokua-Kokopo Corridor Development Plan. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
This is part of the 137 hectares of land at Rapopo Plantation that was recently acquired by the East New Britain Development Corporation, the business arm of the East New Britain Provincial Government. The Ulapia Seminary under the Catholic Church previously owned that land, located between Tokua Airport and Kokopo Town. But when the seminary was closed in 2009, the Catholic Church agreed that the land will be subdivided. And after lengthy deliberations, the Church finally agreed to transfer its ownership to the East New Britain Development Corporation. At this small but significant gathering last night, the head of the Catholic Church in East New Britain, Archbishop Francisco Panfilo, formally announced the new legitimate owners of the land.
The Rapopo development comprises 137.39 hectares of land, which form the major part of the former Rapopo plantation of 166 hectares.
The head of the East New Britain Development Corporation, William Lamour, last night announced their plans to turn this piece of land into what they will call a commercial, residential and shipping hub of the New Guinea Islands region.
If it's done well, it will transform the entire region.
This is what it will look like once the land is fully developed. It will accommodate rental estates, a new wharf, a slipway, and tourist accommodation facilities at least. While the plans are still at its infant stages, the head of the ENBDC believes that it will work.
If managed well, will transform our group of companies, where we will undertake with a number of partners a first-class development in line with the just completed commission to be Kokopo-Tokwa corridor development.
While developments are poised to expand in Kokopo, more land will be needed for the town's expansion. Much of the land is expected to come from the churches and traditional landowners, and it is through this path that the government wants to partner with the churches and the people. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3155 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3080, $0.4029 Australian dollars, $0.2733 euro, and 31.49 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, cocoa, and copper closed higher while coffee closed the day unchanged. Copper closed lower while palm oil and crude oil closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones was closed yesterday for the U.S. Labor Day public holiday. The ASX is trading at 21.18 points lower. The All Ordinaries is trading at 18.72 points lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. Another political party advisor for Pangu Party. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Former Chief Ombudsman Ila Geno has been appointed by Pangu Party as its chief advisor. Geno, who has vast experience in the public service sector as well as national security, will now join former PNGDF Commander Jerry Singirok as chief advisors for the party in the coming general elections. Party leader Sam Basil announced this today in a media conference.
Geno's appointment will see him take the role as chief advisor for internal matters, something he has vast experience in.
In that note, I also welcome him by praising his strong credentials as a high-ranking constitutional office holder and a former police commissioner of Papua New Guinea.
Basil said Geno will not only advise in security matters, but also in matters of public service.
I also praise Chief Ila Geno by adding that the party is focused on implementing policies that will clearly define an institutional and administrative path to urgent economic recovery.
Geno said his main reason for joining Pangu is because of the constitution, which he believes has been dented after 40 years of independence.
Over the years, last 40 years, all of us have witnessed that that constitution has been dented from time to time for sinister motives. And I, for one, with other like-minded Papua New Guineans, are concerned about the dent it's caused.
He said being a constitutional office holder for over 20 years, he is clear on what role he will play in developing policies for Pangu Party leading into next year's general elections.
I want to say that as a Papua New Guinean, I am privileged to have served three main elements of any democratic society where you deal with rule of law, the criminal laws, the administrative law, and constitutional law to do with running of a democratic society, which is Papua New Guinea. And I want to thank you sincerely, and all my heart is committed to what Pangu is doing.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
A Supreme Court bench comprising 3 judges has upheld an earlier lower court decision that sentenced a man to life imprisonment after he was found guilty of willful murder and convicted on May 13th of 2013. Tunmai Isaac was sentenced for stabbing another person after a soccer match in Jahil village near Medang town. The deceased was taken to the Modilon hospital but died before arriving at the hospital.
Trial judge David Kennings found that on the 9th of December 2012 at Jahi village near Medeng town, a soccer grand final was played. There were some disturbances after the match. It was at that moment when Tungmang Isaac attacked another person, Edward Neal, before he went on to stabbing the deceased with a knife. The deceased was trying to settle the commotion when he was stabbed. Trial judge David Kennings, after considering all the evidences brought before the court, sentenced Tungmang Isaac to life imprisonment. Isaac was not satisfied with his conviction and had filed a Supreme Court appeal. But the Supreme Court bench, made up of 3 judges, Colin McKyle, Martin Ipang, and Leka Nablu, found that the trial judge's sentencing discretion had no faults. Justice Colin McKyle, Martin Ipang, and Leka Nablu, when ending down the decision last Friday, said sports violence is a big issue in the country, and people like Tungmang Isaac, who consume omru, only spoils the good sporting spirit. The 3 judges' comments came a week after a clash erupted during the Digicel Cup finals between the Rabal Gurias and the Mount Hagen Eagles in Port Moresby. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Ley.
Our under-20 men's team lose again in the Oceania Under-20 Men's Championships. That's next in Chukai Sports when we come back.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. With Papua New Guinea only months away from hosting the Under-20 Women's Football World Cup, the excitement for hosting such a competition is slowly building. But the PNG Football Association is already looking beyond the Under-20 Women's World Cup to hosting other international competitions on PNG's shores.
In recent months, the interest in football throughout the country has grown exponentially. This is following the success of the NSL clubs at the international stage and the PNG men's performance at the Nations Cup. Following the launch of the Under-20 Women's World Cup Winners' Trophy, OFC President David Chung now believes that PNG can also host other major football events.
Hopefully when we finish the World Cup, we talk about, like before, I have a dream is that I wanted to host a FIFA Congress here in Papua New Guinea, and that will take, that hopefully we can. If you look at our own facilities in our country, we can even bid for the futsal, World Cup futsal. So this is one of the things that we should not give up. We host one, we should go for further. Let's put it this way: we should aim more and more, higher and higher, so that we are part of the world in the international community, and our people should be exposed.
The country is now gearing up to host a major sporting event such as the Under-20 Women's World Cup, and with the facilities being upgraded for the tournament, it is only inevitable for PNG to attract even more world-class sporting competitions. Dion Kombeng, National EMTV Sports.
In the OFC Under-20 Men's Championship, PNG lost their second match to Vanuatu 3-1 in Port Vila this afternoon. The side, captained by Felix Komalong, lost earlier to New Caledonia 4-1. This second loss will most likely put PNG out of contention for the semi-finals. PNG's final match will be against Fiji on Saturday. On a positive note, PNG's star exports to the Solomon Islands domestic competition, the Telecom S-League, are performing very well for their adopted clubs. Ley City Dwellers midfielder Michael Foster, as well as Hekari players David Muta, Koryak Upaiga, Daniel Joe and Tommy Semi are impressing with their respective clubs.
Football in Papua New Guinea has picked up over the last few years, with the quality of players also improving, and the country's best are now attracting bumper crowds in the Solomon Islands. Malaita Kings Football Club team manager Jeremy Masalo, who has recruited Ley City Dwellers midfielder Michael Foster, believes that PNG imports are boosting the quality of football within the region as well. In an interview with MTV's Football First program, Masalo had this to say.
Yeah, Jeremy, they're doing really, really well over here. They've settled
well into their respective clubs. I caught up with the Marist or the Hekari boys last weekend, and they're in very, very good spirits.
Hekari captain David Muta has also made the journey across, along with teammates Koreku Paiga and Daniel Joe for the Marist club. And with their presence, Marist are now title favourites for the domestic cup.
At the moment, they're leading the table. Marist is on 12 points. And our boys, Malaita Kings, they're on 10 points. So the two PNG teams are actually leading the competition at present.
Masalo, a former PNG international who played 6 years in the Telecom National Soccer League, is adamant that these players, including Raymond Gunembe in New Zealand and Nigel Dabinyaba and Felix Comelong in Australia, can raise PNG football to a higher level.
These boys will, as soon as they finish from the National League over here, they'll head back and get straight into the PNG national team training camp, and also start to prepare for their own PNG NSO season. So the good thing is that they're active at the moment, and they're not just sort of sitting around and waiting for time to pass by.
With virtually no top-level football being played in the nation's capital, the choices for Port Moresby-based NSL players have been almost non-existent, and overseas clubs and playing in other centres in the country have been the only options available. The new season of the Telecom National Soccer League is expected to commence by March 2017. Jeremy Moggy, National, MTV Sports.
Papua New Guinea's triathletes have returned to Port Moresby after attending the Pacific Island Championships in Solomon Island. 14 of our athletes took part in the championships, which ran for 5 days.
The PNG team was made up of athletes from Port Moresby, Sepik and New Ireland. The youngest, Jaden James, who is 8 years of age, came second in his event.
We've got an 8-year-old here who outswam kids of up to 14, 15 years of age, so there's a lot of potential within our sport.
PNG secured 9 medals at the championships, which also saw them come out on top at the end of the competition.
James secured #1 female in the sprint distance triathlon, so out of all the countries that were in the Pacific Island Championships this year, we secured that position. We have secured probably the highest medal count out of the whole of the attending countries.
Olsen says with the outstanding performance of the athletes during the championships, they would like to promote the sport in the country and get more people involved.
Every province now, we're trying to encourage clubs to be formed within their provinces, and every club needs to have get out there and, like all the schools, talk to your one-talks, talk to your friends, get them into training.
He also encouraged more females to take part in the sport of triathlon.
Good gender balance. We want to see as many females come into this sport as we can as well, so we can get a great representation. Every other country that we compete against in the Pacific Islands all have a great gender balance. They'll send equal numbers of athletes, both male and female. We've got plenty of them here in PNG. We just need to promote it more and get them involved more.
Elijah Lavette, National, MTV Sports.
Rugby league and cricket, that's still to come in Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. The Queensland Rugby League congratulated the SP-PNG Hunters on their 3rd season in the Intra Super Cup. Speaking on behalf of the QRL was head of football Neil Wharton, who said the Hunters have become a force to reckon with in the competition and through experience may one day win a premiership.
Neil Wharton was in the country to witness the first elimination final match between the SP-PNG Hunters and the Sunshine Coast Falcons.
Outstanding team, great potential in front of them, and you know, sometimes you have to go through these losses to be able to go forward, and the facilities behind them will only give them the best effort to get there as quickly as possible.
Queensland Rugby League is looking at maximising the playing opportunities in PNG.
We're actually very close to trying to get the TV game here too in the near future. So, you know, strategically from our point of view, we're trying to maximise the opportunities up here for us as well as the Hunters.
He also said the Hunters program is a great pathway for upcoming rugby league players in the country.
Speaking to the league up here, We're in negotiations about what we can do in the 16 boys age group, what we can do for the 18 boys and 20-year-olds and the open women's team. The PNG have got a strong open women's group at the moment that are playing, and how we can incorporate them into our state carnivals. We'd love to see the PNG Hunters or a 16s, PNG side playing in that tournament soon now.
During his visit to Port Moresby, he met with PNG RFL Chairman Sandy Saka.
And so we talked about taking a game outside of here in Country Week to one of the villages or one of the communities and outside of Kokopo and here to take the game to the people. So really be interesting to see how that unfolds and where it goes, and hopefully I might have to go and do a ground inspection so I get to see more of this beautiful country, right?
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The PNG Hela Barramundis returned this afternoon after a not-so-successful tour of Queensland. They were defeated by Queensland, Tasmania and Western Australia in 3 respective 50-over ODIs last week. Head coach Deepak Patel said the losses are disappointing, but it was also a good experience for the Barramundis.
With just a month before hosting Namibia for the Intercontinental Cup at home, Coach Patel said more work will be put into the Barramundis training.
It's an opportunity for the boys. It's a series of games that we've been craving for. We've been negotiating with Australia Cricket for a while, and it suddenly happened. So, yeah, look, we're very fortunate to be able to play against the state teams in Maroochydore, and it's a concept that it's only going to make the Barramundis even stronger.
Competing against bigger competition in Australia was an ideal experience for a lesser experienced team like the Barramundis. The training sessions now have to be more vigorous in order to better themselves, said the coach. He added there were some key moments in the matches with the Australian teams where the Barramundis could have grabbed a winning opportunity, but the team was inexperienced, and that is something that's going to change as the Barramundis now have more international meets lined up.
If we were to gauge ourselves against the Australian state teams, it's just the cricket awareness, our tactical awareness. It's the 1-2% that we need to improve on, and we're only going to do that by playing more often against stronger teams.
The PNG side will be in Darwin next week for another one-day international with the South Australia Cricket Association Premier League. These consecutive matches are expected to put them in a better position to face Namibia come October. Dini Rose Rako, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends True Kai Sports. The weather details when we come back.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, chance of light showers in Port Moresby, thundery showers and rain in Daru and Kerama, and thundery showers in Alotau and Popondetta. In the Momase region, thundery showers in Ley, showers and rain in Medang, and some showers in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Island region, a shower or two in Lorengau and Buka, mostly fine in Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, and thundery showers and rain in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, thundery showers and rain in all centers.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Court says fresh vote needed for Hela. New master's program on renewable energy, and lay police find criminal safehouse. And that's been the news for today, Tuesday the 6th of September. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Helen Sayre. Pleasant viewing. Good night.